You saved $800,000 for retirement, maybe over $1 million. That should feel safe. But for a lot of retirees, it isn't. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. People in this exact range usually do not get in trouble because they failed to save enough. They get in trouble because 4 pressure points start draining the portfolio after retirement begins. In Fidelity's 2024 analysis, roughly 35% of people with over $1 million saved still ran into serious income shortfalls within the first 7 years of retirement, not because they were reckless, because they missed the stress points. This video is your retirement stress test. If you have $800,000 to $1.5 million saved, these are the 4 checks you want to run before you retire, or right now if you're already retired. And the last 2 are the ones that can do the most long-term damage. Picture a retired couple. Both are 65. They have $1.1 million in a traditional IRA and no pension. They withdraw $55,000 a year. Seems reasonable. Then 3 things happen within 18 months. The market drops 24%, their Medicare premiums jump because of a high income year, and later RMDs force out more taxable income than they actually need. None of those problems is fatal by itself. Together, they can create over $180,000 in avoidable damage. That is why this is not a net worth conversation. It is a pressure point conversation. Number 1. The withdrawal rate trap. Why 4% isn't always safe. Most people have heard the 4% rule. Almost nobody hears the second half of the story. William Bengen's original 1994 research used data from 1926 to 1976 and aimed to make a portfolio last 30 years with a 90% success rate. That is where most explanations stop. But Morningstar's 2024 Safe Withdrawal Rate study found that for someone retiring today, with current bond yields and equity valuations, a truly safe withdrawal rate is closer to 3.7%, not 4%. On a $1 million portfolio, that difference is $3,000 a year. That sounds small. Over 25 years compounded, it can extend the life of the portfolio by 4 to 6 years. Now, here is where people in the $800,000 to $1.5 million range get hit hardest. At this level, your portfolio is probably covering a real monthly income gap, maybe $3,000, maybe $5,500. So the first few years matter more than the average return. That is sequence of returns risk. A bad market early in retirement can damage the portfolio in a way later gains never fully repair. Let's understand it with an example. Take 2 retired couples. Both have $1 million. Both use the 4% rule. Both earn the same average market return over 20 years, about 7% annually. Couple A retires in 2000, right before the dot-com crash. Couple B retires in 2003, after the recovery. Couple A runs out of money in year 17. Couple B still has $740,000 left at year 20. Same savings, same withdrawal rate, same average return, different sequence. According to Vanguard's 2023 retirement research, portfolios hit by a 20% decline in years 1 through 3 of retirement have a 42% higher failure rate than portfolios hit by the same decline in years 8 through 10. So the most vulnerable years in retirement are usually the first 3, not the last 3. That is why an 18 to 24-month cash buffer matters. Fidelity refers to this as a cash buffer strategy, and it is one of the most underused shock absorbers in this savings range. Your action step is simple. Take your monthly expenses, subtract your fixed income like Social Security or a pension, multiply the gap by 24, That is the cash buffer you want in a money market fund or short-term treasuries before drawing from investments. A bad withdrawal rate hurts you slowly. This next pressure point can raise your costs even if the market does nothing at all. Number 2. The IRMAA Cliff. How one good income year can spike Medicare costs. Most retirees have never heard of IRMAA. That is exactly why it blindsides them. IRMAA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It is the Medicare surcharge that kicks in when your income crosses certain thresholds. In 2025, the standard Medicare Part B premium is $185 per person per month. But if your modified adjusted gross income goes above the threshold, you pay more, sometimes a lot more. For 2025, the first threshold starts at $106,000 for an individual and $212,000 for a married couple. At that first tier, the added Part B and Part D surcharge is roughly $1,260 per person per year. For a couple, that is about $2,520 in unexpected cost. At the next tier, above $133,000 for an individual, the surcharge rises to roughly $2,520 per person annually. A married couple there is paying about $5,040 more each year. And here's what catches people off guard. IRMAA is based on your tax return from 2 years earlier. So if you're enrolling in Medicare at 65, Medicare may be looking at your income from age 63. That could be a working year, or a year with a big Roth conversion. This is the trap for people in your range. A Roth conversion may still be the right long-term move, but a larger conversion can quietly push you over an IRMAA line and claw back part of the tax benefit in higher Medicare premiums 2 years later. So do both calculations. Run the tax savings, then run the IRMAA exposure. A conversion of $80,000 may be smart. A conversion of $130,000 may cost you thousands in premium surcharges 2 years later. If your income dropped because you retired, there's also a fix many people never use. The Social Security Administration allows a life-changing event appeal using Form SSA 44, so Medicare can consider your current income instead of the older tax return. And now we get to the mistake that can quietly cost 6 figures, not because of a crash, not because of bad returns, just because you pulled money from the wrong account in the wrong order. Number 3. Withdrawal Order, the sequence that can save or cost you $200,000. If you have $800,000 to $1.5 million saved, there's a good chance your money sits in multiple buckets: a traditional IRA or 401k, a Roth IRA, maybe a taxable brokerage account. The standard advice is simple: spend taxable first, then traditional, then Roth. Sometimes that works, but sometimes it costs a fortune. Vanguard's 2022 Tax-Efficient Retirement Drawdown research showed that blindly following that order can cost the average retiree between $150,000 and $200,000 in unnecessary taxes over a 25-year retirement. Why? Because it ignores bracket management. An example. Take a retired couple, both 65, with $1.2 million saved. $900,000 is in a traditional IRA. $300,000 is in a Roth. Social Security brings in $42,000 a year. They want $75,000 to live on. If they follow the conventional playbook, they take the extra $33,000 from the traditional IRA. But here is the problem. Their taxable income lands at $75,000. That is still inside the 22% bracket. And in 2025, the 22% bracket for married couples starts at $94,301. In other words, they still have $19,301 of room left in the 12% bracket. If they ignore that room year after year, they waste one of the best tax planning opportunities in retirement. A smarter move is to manage withdrawals intentionally. Pull enough from the traditional IRA to fill up the lower bracket. Then use Roth dollars for the rest. That keeps more lifetime withdrawals taxed at lower rates and preserves flexibility before future RMDs force income higher. That is bracket management, and it's not a one-time retirement decision, it's an annual decision. If withdrawal order is the silent tax leak, this last rule is the timing mistake that can wreck your planning window entirely.
Number 4. The Secure Act 2.0 RMD change most people still get wrong. This is the rule change that may have the biggest impact on people in your range, and a lot of retirees still misunderstand it. The Secure Act 2.0 raised the age when required minimum distributions begin. Under the old rules, RMDs started at 72. Now, for anyone born after January 1, 1951, RMDs start at 73. And for anyone born after January 1, 1960, they start at 75. That sounds minor. It is not. Those extra years can become a major tax planning window. According to the IRS Uniform Lifetime Table, a $1.2 million IRA at age 73 produces an RMD of about $45,283 using a 26.5 distribution period. At age 75, the same balance divided by 24.6 produces an RMD of about $48,780. But the bigger point is not the size of the first withdrawal. It is what those extra years let you do before the withdrawals are forced. You get more time for Roth conversions, more time for bracket management, more time to shift money on your terms instead of the IRS's terms. If you convert $50,000 a year for 2 extra years while staying in the 22% bracket, you may prepay tax on $100,000 at a lower rate before later RMDs stack on top of Social Security and push you higher. Secure Act 2.0 also reduced the penalty for missing an RMD. It used to be 50%. As of 2023, it dropped to 25% and to 10% if you correct the mistake within 2 years. That is still painful, but it is more fixable than it used to be. If you want the official rules, the IRS guidance is in Publication 590-B, and this is worth checking every year because your balance changes, your age changes, and your RMD changes with it.
So here is the full stress test. If you have $800,000 to $1.5 million saved, do these 4 things. First, calculate your cash buffer. Monthly expenses minus guaranteed income, multiplied by 24. That is your shock absorber. Second, check your IRMAA exposure. Look up the 2025 thresholds and compare them with your projected MAGI before you finalize any Roth conversion. Third, check your tax bracket room. Know exactly how much space you have left in your current bracket before taking extra IRA withdrawals or doing conversions. Fourth, confirm your RMD start age. If you were born after 1960, your window may be longer than you think. Do not waste it. Which of these 4 pressure points surprised you most? The withdrawal rate trap, the IRMAA surcharge, the withdrawal order math, or the RMD timing window? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. And if you want me to break down your specific retirement setup in a future video, tell me what part you want covered next. If this video helped, subscribe. Because if you have $800,000 to $1.5 million saved, retirement is no longer just about building wealth. It is about protecting the plan from the few mistakes that can quietly drain it.
And if you want to keep going, watch the next video on how a pension changes your retirement math, or the one on the retirement sweet spot, where you may be able to stop contributing and still keep growing the account. Whichever you choose, I will see you there.